But Michael, in terms of a dynamic, in terms of education, your opponents pointed out that in Texas, for example, that scores are rising among minority students, that in fact that things are moving in the right direction very rapidly, and then in the blue states the reverse is happening. And that's a very compelling argument.
That's not the case in general across the blue states, and certainly not across the red states. They cherry-picked one statistic. If you look at graduation rates, for example, in terms of education, the number of blue states with a percentage of adults 25 to 34 with a college degree, the top are Massachusetts, North Dakota, a red state with energy, Minnesota, New York, New Hampshire, California, Iowa, et cetera. Only North Dakota is a red state. Of the bottom 10, there are only two blue states in the bottom 10 in terms of education.
So, Stephen Moore, is your side's education argument undone?
Look, you have to then defend the schools in the inner cities, right? I mean, how do you explain the abysmal schools in Detroit, in Chicago,
poverty
in New
and
York,
inequality,
in Boston? I mean, the inner city, and this is really, I think, one of the fundamental flaws of their argument. If the blue state modeled work, then Detroit wouldn't be bankrupt, right? Because there are no Republicans in Detroit. It is a city that for 50 years has been ruled only by liberal Democrats. And one of the things I'd warn you of is that if you want to move to these blue states, you know, one of the things that they have in those blue states that we haven't even mentioned yet is gargantuan unfunded liabilities in their pension. You want to talk about the legacy costs. Look at the legacy costs of these blue states. So if you were to move from a red state to a blue state, you are basically condemning yourself and your kids to have to pay a huge amount of your taxes just to pay for the costs of the last 20 or 30 years for retired public workers,
so
where you get nothing in return for your tax
dollars. You're saying the blue
dollars.
states are doomed?
I think, look, the blue states either have to change or die.
Become red.
They are like East Berlin, they are like East Germany, and they're like North Korea.
All right. Again, it's a trend question. Gray Davis.
Yeah. Listen, I believe you have to prove your worth every day. And I give my opponents credit for pointing out some modest increases in performance in Texas and other states. But in California, 33% of the residents have a college degree. In Texas, 25%. Talking about the future is being invented in Silicon Valley. It is not being invented in the southern states and the plain states, and it's because of great research universities. Alan Greenspan told me, you have something no other state has. 13 research universities, Caltech, Stanford, SC, 10 UC campuses. Those states create whole new economies.